Hello and welcome to the Spiritual Solopreneur Podcast. If this content resonates with you, please like and subscribe. Today, my guest is Anne Bartolucci, PhD, writing mentor, USA Today bestselling author, and psychologist. Anne has over 20 novels and novellas in print under her pen name, Cecilia Dominic. I love that name.
Thank you.
It's such a cool pen name. And she has two nonfiction books, including Better Sleep for the Overachiever, written by herself. She combines her loves of creativity and psychology in her company PsycUp Academy, where she guides heart-centered entrepreneurs from the inkling of an idea to the first draft of their world and business-changing book. Hi, Anne.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Yeah, I love the name Cecilia Dump. There's got to be a story behind that, right?
Yes, I used to be Catholic, and so I chose Cecilia as my confirmation name because she's the patron saint of music, and my middle name is Dominique. So, yeah, so my full name is Anna Dominique Bartolucci.
Beautiful. I mean, they're
Thank you.
all beautiful and just sound so literary.
Thank you. Maybe I was destined to be a writer.
Exactly. Well, congratulations on your prolific writing career. You've written so many books, and now you're not only writing, but you're also coaching people who would really love to write that book they've been dreaming of, but for whatever
Hmm.
reason, it just gets put off and put off and put off. What what causes that? What are the main reasons why we procrastinate on writing that book that we would just love to write?
Well, as I'm sure you're aware, humans don't do well with uncertainty. And so a lot of times people are putting it off because it just seems like this big, giant cloud of, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I don't know how to get started. And then even if I do get started, what if I get stuck? And then once I finish it, how do I get it published? Because the publishing world is a whole other mystery. And people are also really concerned that their ideas aren't original enough. And so for example, there are so many books on witchcraft, right? You have shelves of them, I have shelves of them. But if you look at it, even if you look at different topics within witchcraft, like kitchen witchery, for example, it's like I have a ton of them, and it's because each author has their own take on it, and each author's voice is going to resonate with different readers. And so, if you want to write a book on your topic, then keep in mind that you're writing it for those readers who are going to benefit from it the most, not for everybody.
Right. And it's coming from you. It's your take on whatever the topic is, which makes it unique,
Exactly.
right?
Yes.
So you mentioned witchery in there,
Hmm.
and I know you bring some magic into your coaching. What kind of magic and spiritual tools do you use to help your would-be writers get going?
Oh, yes. Thank you for this question because well, I love what I do, but this is really the fun part. I have a couple of programs, but the one that where it really comes in the most is my 8-week accelerator. So I have an 8-week writing accelerator that helps people go from uh, inkling of an idea to first chapter, marketing plan, and book outline. And at the end of each of those 8 sessions, we have a tarot card pull. And so I've come up with a 3 or 4 card pull to go with the topic to help people to connect with it in a new way. Because I love tarot. I've been reading it off and on now for about 20 years, seriously for 3. And there is just so much symbolism there. And so my psychologist brain loves it because it's kind of a projective test. And of course, my witchy brain loves it because it's tarot and it's magic and allows you to open up to maybe communication from your creative higher self.
Exactly. And you find that it's kind of difficult to get people to buy into this initially, and then they kind of get the hang of it.
It's been interesting because I had a couple of people in my first cohort who had never pulled cards before. And so they went out and they got a basic deck and they ended up like they were the ones who ended up saying like, wow, this really helped me connect with things on a deeper level. And so sometimes you just have to get people to poke at it a little bit. The only time I've had any resistance was in the book club I ran this summer on Liz Gilbert's Big Magic. And I had one person in there who was not comfortable with the cards, but she did end up doing a little bibliomancy towards the end.
Oh,
So we got her moving in that direction.
what is bibliomancy?
Oh, that's where you ask a question and then you allow a book to open to wherever it's going to open to, and then like whatever word or phrase your eye lands on, that's your answer.
I love that. That's that. Well, it's very intuitive, and what you're doing
Mhm.
is helping people kind of use that muscle, right? And
Exactly. It's like, yeah, let's get out of that intellect where everything has to be logical, everything has to make sense, and into the intuitive because that's where the fun connections are made.
exactly. And so, does it help people with the flow, I guess, is what I'm saying, of the writing?
It can. Like I've had times when I've pulled cards for myself where it's like, okay, I'm stuck. What do I need to consider? What do I need to do to move forward? And it's quite possible the answer was within me, but the card gives me a different way of tackling it rather than being like, oh no, I need to write today.
Right. Nine of Swords. I need to write today.
Exactly.
Okay, okay.
Yep.
Well, we're going to do a little mini poll later, right? We're going
Oh,
to
yay.
for the collective. Um, Either from your deck or mine, doesn't matter.
Okay.
So, yeah, what kind of books do you help people write? Is it more the spiritual genre of books that you find authors who come to you, or any type of genre?
Well, they are all nonfiction. And I started off with all psychologists and therapists clients
Hmm.
because that was how I got into doing writing coaching to begin with. It was 2020, and a friend of mine who owns a continuing ed platform was like, "Hey, we're going all online now. We don't have to pay ridiculous amounts for hotel coffee for people anymore, so we're expanding our offerings. What do you want to teach?" And so I originally proposed Hysteria and the Occult in Victorian Times, which I, had built to present at steampunk conferences, honestly, out of my research for my steampunk books. And she said, okay, yes. And how about how to write a book? I'm like, oh, yeah, I could teach that too. So,
What was
yes,
the
for those of
first one? Hysteria?
Hysteria and the Occult in Victorian Times.
Oh, okay. I would be interested in that.
Yes, I know. I need to actually sit down and record that course just for
That would
for
be
the lay audience.
very cool. Yeah.
Thank
So,
you.
what is the book do you help people get books published as well, or I should ask that first?
Oh,
Um,
that's okay. Yeah, so I take people from idea to first draft. And I've been building a network of other professionals in the book and publishing spheres. And so I'll usually give people a few recommendations of, okay, check out this person, and this person. So it really cuts down on the overwhelm to have limited choices and also know that, somebody's been vetted.
right. So you have some resources for your client.
Hmm.
What is the state of book publishing? I'm thinking because way back in the day, it used to be you'd write your book and then you would go around to book publishers and hope that they would publish and distribute it. But we have so many different ways of publishing and distributing material now. Is that a good thing?
I would say it is because think about it, we can all read way faster than any one author or group of authors can write. And it also gives us a lot of freedom. So I have done both traditional publishing and independent publishing. Books, my first seven fiction books and my first nonfiction were all with traditional publishers. And so I really get to learn firsthand what are the advantages and disadvantages of that path. So I got my students to figure out which path will align most with their values, personal values, business values, their goals for the book, and then also, their timeline. Because if you want to get your book out quickly, then traditional publishing is not going to be the way to go.
Right. And but what are the advantages of that? Larger distribution, I would imagine promotion.
Larger distribution, yes. Promotion, unfortunately, that is a myth. If you are a brand new baby author without a track record, it's basically like they're throwing spaghetti against the wall and seeing what sticks. So regardless of publishing path, you have to do your own marketing and promotion.
Interesting. So you might as well do
Mhm.
it the other way then.
Right. I mean, the big advantage of traditional publishing is that even though there really is no difference in quality between traditional and independent publishing, if you do the independent publishing right, that people still give you more weight of authority if you have been traditionally published.
Gotcha. Is it, I'm thinking it used to be, and perhaps still is, that having a book published is a major marketing tool. It's a major bonus as a marketing tool. Is that still the case?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
And, a lot of times people are not going to question whether this book has been independently published or traditionally published.
The fact that you've written a book, it
Mhm.
kind of has that professional stamp on it, doesn't it, when
Ex
you have a book?
exactly. Because at the very least, people are like, well, at least you know how to communicate your ideas. Or we can at least check that out with your book.
Exactly. And other people have recognized it enough. It
Mhm.
must be that some other people have recognized this enough to allow a book to be published. Something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, some credibility there.
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. Is it more difficult for the folks that are writing sort of spiritual books, like, the stuff that you see in the New Age section of the bookstore and the Doreen Virtue type books? Is it more difficult to get those published now
I
than
honestly
than other
don't
books?
know.
Yeah.
I don't know because, on one hand, yes, there are a lot of people writing books. And unfortunately, that's one of the dark sides of AI. Like, I think it's a great tool when it's used properly. But yeah, a lot of people are using it to put out books quickly and not so well. However, the AI books are not making it to publishing houses or making it through publishing houses. The I would say there is hope because even though it's hard to get a book published, there are a lot more specific little publishing houses where they might even be an imprint of a larger publishing house, but they are just for that kind of book.
Mm,
And so, we've all heard of Hay House,
right.
and however, as several of the other big ones have their spirituality imprints. That's what the little sub ones are called. And there are also still small publishers out there like Llewellyn, for example, that will do books in the spiritual space.
Right. And tarot card publishers, that kind of thing that
Hmm.
also do books.
Yep.
Awesome. Um, what is the state of reading? Are people reading?
It's kind of funny because like when it comes to reading, the people are either like, okay, they're on their phones all the time, not necessarily reading, or they're just voraciously reading.
Interesting.
Yes. But I would imagine that in the spirituality world, just because, there have been, you know, you're kind of warned against relying too much on online sources because, they haven't been vetted. You know, I think the spiritual books are, doing okay because of that. So at least, these have been, edited and maybe hopefully fact checked.
Right. So tell me what lights you up most about what you're doing with your coaching?
I would have to say that I love seeing my students finding the joy in in writing in sharing their ideas. And also because I run cohort programs, seeing them support each other and be supported, what helps keep them going even when times get tough.
Gotcha. Do prospective writers get into a real funk, like depressed? If the video the I would think so, if the ideas just aren't coming.
Well, that happens to everybody.
True, not just writers.
Yeah. Yes. And so writers, yeah, they do need to be conscious and take care of themselves. And think about, okay, where have I been pushing myself too hard? Or, I actually have a an acronym that I use to help people to get out of that, oh, I don't feel like writing or I'm procrastinating. So it is called the Bart's method. Yes, I named it after myself, um, like you do. And so the B starts with the basics, like, have you been getting enough sleep? Are you hydrated? Are you hungry? It's like maybe your body's trying to tell you something. The A is, what are you avoiding or assuming? So are you assuming that if you write something, it's going to get rejected or ridiculed? Are you avoiding negative emotions? Are you avoiding that uncertainty? The R is reorienting to values. And so, as one of my very first steps with writers, I have them figure out what their core values are if they haven't already, and then teach them how to apply it to writing so that at the very least you can go back to that anchor. And
Right.
then there's T, which is time travel, which is be nice to future you. A lot of times we're much nicer to other people than we are to ourselves. But you know what? If we make ourselves a little bit separate and say, okay, there's future me, I'm going to be nice to her, it can be a lot easier to get stuff done. And then, yeah, and then S is support and accountability. So that's where, I've been in a critique group for over a decade now. And that's why I run cohorts, is because that support of other writers who understand your experience is so helpful. And also there's that accountability part because, we don't want to disappoint people. So it's like, okay, you know what? Even if I don't feel like writing, I'm going to write because I have to turn something in.
Well, there's that.
Yes.
Deadlines.
Yep.
Exactly. I love that your black kitty has joined us.
Oh, he's actually a gray tabby, but yeah, he
Oh,
he can look black on
looks kind of black.
camera. Yes, he is my supervisor.
Very good.
Thank you.
Do you find that, or for you yourself, do you ever write your material, literally write with a pen and
Mhm.
paper, or is it always on the computer?
No, actually, if I get stuck, sometimes I will handwrite because it helps me I mean, it's a different connection with the brain, right? And also, I like to do my planning and outlining and organizing of ideas by hand, not on the computer.
Right. I like it because, yeah, it allows a certain flow, or it just, to me, I can do it faster. I can actually
Mhm.
write it down on a piece of paper faster so that if my brain is going faster than my hand, it has a hope of catching up.
So I'm a very, very fast typist, so that is not the case for me, but I can see how it could be.
Gotcha. Very cool. So, what would you say to an aspiring writer out there today that's kind of stuck?
Well, I guess it would depend on where are they stuck?
Hmm.
Are they, and are they, well, I have an idea and I'm not sure if it's good enough or I have too many ideas. It's okay, let's sit down and figure this out. So I do offer 30-minute idea consultation sessions or idea clarification sessions for free for people just to see. And people usually come away with something very, very useful from that. If it's, well, I'm stuck because I don't know how I'm going to get this book published, then, that's another set of questions. I know it's a hard thing being a writer because there's so many places where you can get stuck.
Yeah, exactly. You had mentioned to me at some point that you felt like it was extremely important now for our spiritual writers to have their voices heard.
Mhm.
Why do you think now is so important for that?
Ah, yes, I'm trying to narrow down my answer from like all of this. Yes, for this, I know we're on audio only, but I just made a grand Italian hand gesture for
So did
that.
I. Yeah.
Yes. And it's because, okay, first thing that comes to mind specifically is that people in the spiritual world need to know that they're not alone. And so when you go into a Barnes and Noble, maybe you're going to walk by a section that's all like red, white, and blue book covers with, that name that I don't even want to invoke blazoned all over them.
Right.
But then you go to the spirituality section, it's like this, you have your green and yellow and light blue covers. And it's like a little oasis, like, okay, there are people like me who have similar values. And it's also, with everything going on, it can be easy to despair and be like, well, the spiritual connection has left us. Like, why is spirit not taking care of us? And, I believe it's okay, yeah, this is coming through. I believe it's taking care of us through the words of others and saying, okay, yes, this is a way that we build community. And communities get built from knowledge and people with similar interests. So, for example, like, spiritual book clubs would be one thing. Or, I just was at Mystic South last month. So, conventions where there are a lot of authors. And so, yeah, it's a way of connecting. And also, it's like, yeah, we need all of the spiritual help we can get.
Absolutely. And we keep hearing that the veil's getting thinner, and so it's easier, in fact, to get help from angels, guides
Hmm.
across the veil. Um, but and it's a good thing because
Hmm.
we do need it even more so now, right?
Hmm. Exactly. Yeah, we need that strength to keep going, keep resisting.
Exactly. Well, Anne, how do people get in touch with you?
Well, you can find me on LinkedIn, where I have just today released the inaugural issue of my LinkedIn newsletter called Ink and Intuition.
Love that title.
So thank you. We'll give you that information for the show notes. You can also find me at my website, which is psychupacademy.com. I'm also PsycUp Academy on Instagram. And I
Okay.
also have my own podcast that I do with my druid friend. It's New Moon Collective, conversations between a witch and a druid on magic and psychology in midlife. And so, yes, during our second season, we've
Okay.
been covering the elements, and each episode at the end of it has a little spell using that element for resistance.
Nice.
Thank you.
That's
So,
beautiful. Elements like what?
oh, earth, air, fire,
Earth, air,
water,
fire.
those. Yep.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Awesome. Well, if you do you have a tarot deck handy that we could just pull a card or two for the for the
Bev,
audience?
do I have a tarot deck handy?
What a silly
What kind of,
question.
what kind of witch do you think I am?
Exactly.
All right. So, yes, what does Bev's audience, the spiritual solopreneurs, what is spirit telling them about connecting with their creativity so they can write their books? And we have some good shuffling ASMR here. Impressed the heck out of my goddaughter that I can shuffle like that.
I can't see how you do it. Are you doing it
Oh, I do
fancy?
the
Oh,
riffling
okay,
one.
okay,
Yep.
okay. What do you call that? Fly?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know what you call it.
All right, so I'm using the Muse Tarot by Chris Ann,
Mm,
and we have the Two of Voices or the Two of Swords for this
okay,
deck.
okay.
And so for the listeners, it is a small figure on the bottom walking along one path. There are two paths, they both lead to a door. There's a goddess figure kind of on the top. She looks a bit like the Virgin Mary iconography. And then there's like a mirror image in the middle of a woman facing away from the middle with a blindfold on. And so the Two of Voices is actually the card of stalemate, and is also the card of, being too much in one's head or one's heart. And so you need to take off the blindfold. And so perhaps your listeners need to take off the blindfold of fear, doubt, procrastination, realize that their writing path is valid, whatever it looks like. And then, yeah, it's time to help break the world out of its stalemate with the magic of their words.
Beautiful. And we were talking about being stuck. So Two of
Exactly.
Swords is a bit, or voices. And I love that they call it voices. How
Mhm.
apropos.
Yes, exactly.
Cool. Well, thank you for doing that, Anne. And thank you for being here.
Well, thank you so much, Bev. I really enjoyed it.
Me too. It was awesome. And would love to do it again sometime.
Yes, thank you.
All right. We will talk to you soon. As soon as I find the stop button. There we go. Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.